This video is going to be a short summary describing the tornado outbreak sequence that occurred in April of 1996. As always, starting with her overview, this event was 3 days long, from April 19th to April 21st. This event caused 118 tornadoes. Surprisingly, there were no violent or F4 plus tornadoes, but there were 29 significant tornadoes, many of them being F3, I believe 11 exactly. More than 200 people would be injured, and 6 lost their lives in total from these tornadoes. Because this event was actually so well forecasted, the SPC had issued a high risk anywhere from 1 to 2 days ahead from this outbreak. Unfortunately, though, despite all of this, despite storm chasers being in the U.S. plains, I only have 2 photos, both of them being damage photos. I apologize for that. I really love having photos in these, but sometimes I just can't find them, folks. We start with our first of 6 notables. This is the Decatur, Illinois F3. This tornado traveled a pretty impressive 23.2 kilometers, injuring 29 along its way. Despite Wikipedia not stating too much on the damage, with relatively sparse damage, the estimated $9 million in damage points to much higher damage being done than what is noted, which is weird because usually Wikipedia articles which I use are pretty good at stating all the damage done, but I digress. Our second notable here occurred in Urbana, Illinois, and was also an F3. This tornado traversed 6.4 kilometers and injured 12. 33 homes were destroyed, with more than 100 structures damaged. This tornado also caused an estimated $9 million in damage. Our third notable also occurred in Illinois. This is the Ogden, Illinois F3. With a path length of just 3.2 kilometers long, this is exactly on the average for the average tornado path length. This tornado would injure 13, and tragically, 1 person would lose their life. Most of the town of Ogden was pretty badly damaged, with 84 structures destroyed, 68 of them being homes, and 199 structures being damaged. I've taken the liberty of combining notables 4 and 5 into just one slide. These tornadoes occurred in Ontario, Canada, and they were both F3s. From both of these storms, thankfully there were 0 deaths and 9 were injured in total. First is the Williamsford to Blantyre F3. With a track of 40 kilometers, the storm is also pretty high-based. High-based meaning that the cloud floor was very high off the ground. That means that the connection from the rotating updraft to the ground has a longer distance to go, and more things can go wrong between that larger distance. This tornado is notably multi-vortex, with up to 4 vortices on the ground at once, and was also consistently an F3 for nearly its entire life. Even when it became multi-vortex from being a cone, it still maintained its F3 strength, and when it recondensed back into a single funnel, it was still F3 strength. This tornado also tossed a 2-tonny tank 1.6 kilometers, or just under 1 mile. Our fifth notable, the Arthur to Violet Hill F3, also in Ontario, Canada, had a track length of 60 kilometers. This tornado is also multi-vortex with up to around 2 to 3 vortices on the ground at once, and was around 400 meters wide at its widest. This tornado was pseudo-rain wrapped, and by that I mean that the mesocyclone itself was so large that the rotation and the inflow jet was pulling some of the precipitation into the tornado. Our last notable is the Fort Smith, Arkansas F3, with a path length of 16.2 kilometers long. This tornado would injure 89 and tragically 2 lost their lives. 2,393 homes were affected, 498 of which were destroyed, all the rest being damaged to some extent, and 344 structures were either damaged or destroyed, most of them being apartment units themselves. The significance is actually based on two very specific things. This is Illinois' largest outbreak with a total of 33 tornadoes, and this is also one of Canada's most prolific tornadic events. The way that this system was in and of itself is very comparable to the May 2004 tornado outbreaks system, which was also a sequence. Both of them had some very interesting dynamics going on. Specifically, this system had both the warm and cold fronts spawning tornadoes. The warm front spawned most of Illinois' and Canada's tornadoes, and the cold front later in the evening would be responsible for Indiana's tornadoes. The next day, a separate path of the jet stream would push this thing along, and with its available moisture along with it, caused more tornadoes. This would essentially repeat for the third day of the outbreak. Like I said at the beginning, it is something of note to say that there were no violent tornadoes, or F4 and above, from this outbreak. Usually with a system this large that extends for this long of a time frame, there is, but very notably, all of them were calm, so to say. There were no violent tornadoes. And that, folks, is all that I have for this outbreak sequence. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys for the next video. Thank you for watching.